Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of r/Entitled Parents. Just before we jump into the first story, guys, apologies for not uploading in the last 2 days. I've had some computer troubles where I literally couldn't get the computer to start up, so I seem to have it working now, so let's hope nothing goes wrong, and I can keep pumping out Reddit videos for you guys. So, let's get on with the first one. It's crazy. Little entitled crap eats a crab in an aquarium store, and his mom defends him. Alright boys and girls, this seems super unbelievable, but when you've been working in the pet trade as a sales associate for long enough, in weird areas you start to see your fair share of entitled kids and shit-stained parents. My first of many stories, so don't be too harsh. For context, I work at a mom and pop store in the eastern US, and while my expertise is in aquatics, I try to be a jack of all trades. The day this happened was rather uneventful until this point. All up until little shit LS and pig effer PF entered the store. My store was pretty modest, so it was fairly easy to see customers coming in and out, especially in the fish department, so I got the first look at these magnificent creatures. A 40-something-year-old woman talking on her cell phone, her hair obviously dyed blonde, an outfit practically screaming midlife crisis, while her child was in tow. The kid must have been 7 or 8, the kid playing on his Switch, his shirt covered in what looked like a mixture of pizza sauce, soda, and plenty of mystery stains. The first things were pretty normal, the kid originally not caring about anything in the store while PF was getting enraged at him for not paying attention. Though that changed rather fast. PF and LS were near the ferrets when PF took LS's Switch, immediately causing a reaction of screaming and pouting before being distracted by some of the fish over in my department. Alright, a bit of unnecessary information, but the way my store's fish department is set up is that 2/5 of it is freshwater, 2/5 is equipment, and the rest is saltwater. Given we weren't really known for saltwater, we only kept pretty generic yet sought after fish like hippo tangs, various clownfish, 6ix9ine wrassies, etc. The thing about the first two is because of Finding Nemo, kids are always drawn to the Dories or Nemos. Alright, that all in mind, the first thing Ellis did was head over to the small assortment of hippo tangs we had, practically pressing his shit-covered face against the glass as he yelled out, "Dory!" PF healed me down from algae scrubbing and started the encounter. I like that casual around the workplace as I find it lowers any sort of anxiety a customer has and makes me way more approachable. First thing out of my mouth was, me. "Hey there, how's your night going? Need help with something?" PF started out our encounter with a roll of the eyes before pointing to the tang and demanding a price with a simple but rude, "How much for this thing?" After shifting gears from a casual standing to a more professional one, I simply told her that the tang was $160. He was a good sized tang. Of course, she scoffed, but what came next was a bit more worrying. PF pulled out $30 from her purse and placed it on the desk we used to bag fish, saying in an aggravated tone, "That's all you're getting. Bag him." Things started to go poorly from here. It was worth noting that it was 9:15 at this point, the store having closed 15 minutes ago, though we make it a policy not to ask customers to leave until 9:30. It was just my manager and myself at this point. My manager in the office closing down the registers, so essentially it was like I was the only employee in the store. Seeing PF placing the $30 on the table, I raised an eyebrow before leaning against the wall, simply asking her, "Do you have a saltwater tank?" She didn't take this well. She screamed without a second passing, "None of your effing business. Now bag my fish, you cocky little shit." I simply refused and slid her $30 back towards her before she slid it back. Now I'm more pissed off. PF, "I'm going to get your ass fired if you do not bag my fish right now." At this, LS was getting pissed at the interaction, screaming like a banshee about how he wanted the tang, still referring to it as Dory and beginning to stomp his feet in a tantrum. Soon enough, I was asking them to leave, so this is where I effed up. I should have called the cops at this point, knowing that she wasn't going to leave without a fight. LS was on the floor at this point, pounding his fist to the floor as snot dripped down his face as PF tried to guilt me. PF, "Sorry sweetie, this guy doesn't want you to have the fish. He's perfectly fine with you having no fish friend to make you happy." At this point, she turned back up to me. PF, "Do you see what you did, you stupid F? You are breaking my angel's heart because you're being too much of a Jew to sell me a fish." Whoa! Where the hell did that come from? Internally, I was laughing. The kind of situation happened now and again, but the anti-Semitism was a new one. I had figured everything was starting to resolve at this point, though I was mistaken. LS flipped shit. You know how some opera singers can break glass with their voice? This kid would have a knack for something like that. LS was screaming as loud as humanly possible at this point as he managed to reach into the tank. Alas, my manager had made his way out of the office and was watching what was going on. LS, LS grabbed a piece of live rock, accidentally grabbing a long spine urchin. Angry screaming turned right to walls of pain as he pulled a rock out of the tank and a poor little pom-pom crab in tow. At this point, I was less focused on the kid and more focused on making sure my manager was calling 911, which he did. When I turned around, I saw something that still gives me nightmares to this day. The kid had been clutching his hand while his mother tried to help him. Something hanging out of his mouth, the poor little pom-pom crab, had been crushed by the kid. LS having shoved it into his mouth and chomping down on it, leaving a little claw hanging out of his mouth. The next 2 minutes was a strange combination of astonishment, panic, myself telling the kid not to move his hand since he would break the spines of the urchin, while PF began hitting me with her crappy purr screaming that I hurt her kid. Me. Your kid shoved his hand into a tank, one with toxic animals nonetheless, and did this to himself. Calm the F down and leave him alone so when the paramedics get here, they can get the spines out. How dare you? You expect me to let my angel suffer? If you just sold me the stupid fish, this would never have happened. Me. Your kid reached into the tank and ate a crab. What the F do you teach this kid? PF. Don't you ever tell me how to raise my angel. He had the right to eat that crab. You took something from him and he took something from you. By the end of this interaction, the paramedics had arrived, restraining the kid and taking him into an ambulance as the police tried to sort things out. Unsurprisingly, PF tried to pin everything on me, saying I threw an urchin at him and he ate a crab in the panic. Equally surprising, we had the entire thing on CCTV, including PF hitting me with her purse. Long story short, PF was arrested for aggravated assault, as apparently she had stuffed the rock into her bag to give it an extra punch. Didn't notice until after the paramedics saw me that I was bleeding on my leg from the jagged live rock. After getting a statement, the cops left. PS and Ellis were off to wherever the hell the cops took them, and I got out of everything with 8 stitches and a $300 bonus from my boss for handling the situation without anyone getting seriously injured. From what I ended up hearing, the kid had actually got stung by the fox face's dorsal spines, and that sent him into a blind rage. The mom got a plea deal and she ended up with a huge fine, some jail time, and some other shit. In summary, I didn't sell EM a fish, kid flipped shit, grabbed an urchin, and ate a crab. EM got arrested for assault. This is by far the worst situation I've ever had in the store, and I still can't believe the outcome till this day. This was 3 years ago. I was on work the other day when I saw a kid pouting over his mom not letting him get a hippo tank, and this had been brought to the front of my mind ever since. I told you this first story was insane. That is batshit crazy. I know kids are weird, but you just don't reach into a tank and grab a crab and eat it? That's just weird. EK learns the hard way, not to steal drinks. Trigger warning. Do not read this if you have a weak stomach. Consider yourself warned. Okay, among many vices, gaming, etc., one that I have had for many years is my addiction to nicotine. Now, I'm not a smoker, honestly. I hate the smell of all forms of smoke. I use smokeless tobacco, better known as snuff, or chew, or dip, depending on where you are in the nation. When you use this stuff, you spit sometimes quite a lot. Because of that, I've had this habit of keeping old soda bottles handy. That way, I can spit in the bottle and seal it, not worrying about accidentally spilling it or making a mess. This has also the effect of sometimes making it easy to hide what I am doing. I never expected that I'd cause trouble though. Trouble and humor. So a couple years back, I was taking a cross-country trip by bus. About halfway to my destination at a layover in Denver, I had the following encounter. EK is entitled kid, TM is tired mom, me is me. Taking a seat outside the bus station at a nearby store, as I sit down, I put my half-full spit bottle beside me and start checking my phone. EK, pointing at a bottle, gives me that. Me. What? Huh? Oh, no, you don't want that. EK. I want it. Give it to me. Yes, this kid actually said gib. Me. No. Now shove off, kid. About this time, the kid ran over to his mother and said something. The lady came over my way and seemed nice, if very tired. Long bus rides will do that. TM. My boy says you won't give him the rest of your soda. Me. It's not soda. TM. I know full well what it is. Why don't you just, give it to him? Me. But TM. Just give it to him. At this point, I just shrugged, gesturing at the bottle. The liquid in it was as dark as cola, though it sure as hell wouldn't be as tasty. Mom smiled and thanked me, taking the bottle and walking back over to her hellspawn. I decided to hang around and watch everything. The kid turns to me, flips me the bird, and then makes a showing of opening the bottle and taking a big gulp out of it. You could see his brain suddenly short circuit. Gag reflex kicked in, along with a sudden need to swallow. I could tell that his mind was fighting with itself. Eyes the size of saucers, the gag reflex won, and he blew the liquid out all over the front of his shirt, then pants. Then he started to dry heave. Turned several interesting shades of colour too, all the while Mom was watching him, patting his back. Eventually, she carried him off in the direction of the restroom to be cleaned up. That kid looked like he'd never trust a Coke ever again. I ended up speaking to the lady later while we were on the bus. Apparently, grandmom had seriously spoiled the kid, giving him anything and everything he wanted. Mom, for her part, was trying to teach him that the world didn't work that way. I think her little stunt with my spit bottle made a point. Entitled family abandons dog citing a made-up reason. EM screams bloody murder when I restrict visitation rights. So the obligatory. This happened 7 years ago. I used to volunteer at an animal shelter when I was in high school, where I am from. Shelters overflow, and the adoption coordinators take in and give away dogs with just a signature. No questions asked. Just to add, I love dogs more than life itself. This is especially why this story makes me rage. Scotty was a big black lab, a 7-year-old gentle giant. All he would ever want from anyone would be a few pets and maybe a belly rub. I meet him, the best dog I ever knew, in the worst circumstance possible. He was being abandoned by his family. Enter EM, entitled mother, EF, entitled father, EK, entitled kid. EM, 40, almost tearfully claimed that there's no way they can keep Scotty anymore. EF, late 40s, has just gotten a job in Australia and the family must relocate. They have no financial means to take the dog. I was just a volunteer, so I saw as the shelter manager signed as she processed him into the shelter. The dog had no idea what was happening to him. He just wagged his tail. The entitled family dropped him inside and suspiciously, without a tearful goodbye, left him at the door. Now, the shelters in my country are not like those you have in the West. They're basically a free-for-all, a big area in which dogs are just tied, some roam loose. It's absolute hell, so we try to love the dogs enough to make up for their lack of infrastructure. Now back to Scotty. It has been 2 days and he wouldn't budge from the spot his family had left him. He would hear footsteps and wag his tail, just to be disappointed. He wouldn't eat. He was the saddest dog I had ever seen. I would sit next to him and he would just put his head on my lap and sigh. I couldn't bear it. I took him home. It took 2 weeks to become happy from depressed. He also had a ton of medical issues. His liver was giving out. I wondered why his ex-family hadn't told us he was this unwell. One day the shelter got a call. It was the entitled family asking if they could visit Scotty. Red flag number 1. They had to urgently relocate. Why hadn't they left yet? I told them politely that Scotty needs some time to get used to his new home. EM told me that EK, 10, has been crying for him and wants to see him. I agreed. I came to my house to meet him. Scotty was ecstatic. He was almost ready to leave with EK. What was funny to me was the EM and EF sat in the car while EK went up to pet him and take pictures with him on his phone. He didn't seem emotional and spent about 10 minutes with the dog. This happened 2 to 3 times until I decided it was taking too much of a toll on Scotty. Every time they left, it started all over again. Scotty was sad, depressed, and wouldn't eat. I promised myself I'd let him forget those people. They had now started calling me every other week, and I asked them when they're going to Australia. Me. When are you leaving though? EM. That's none of your business. Me. Well, Scotty's well-being and emotional state is my business, so I can't let you guys meet him again. He doesn't eat for a week after you guys leave. EM. Ha ha ha. What emotional state? He's just a dog. Listen to yourself. Me. And you didn't even tell us he had a liver problem. EM. It's just a dog. Can you calm the F down? Me. You're not allowed back in my home. EM. Okay then, send the dog back to the shelter. That way EK can go see him now and then without it being such a hassle. Me. Excuse me? This is his house now. EM. F you, bitch! And she hangs up. So during this time, my dad was in palliative care at his home for last stage lung cancer. The house was being kept quiet to keep my dad comfortable. Scotty would always stand guard outside my dad's room. Doorbell starts ringing frantically. I go to open the door, in barges EK and EM. EM vomiting some rant about how it's her right to meet her dog, and pushing the kid to go pet the dog. Scotty was right outside my dad's room, who he had grown very protective of. Now this dog has never barked. He has whimpered at the most. He sees EK and EM charging towards my dad's room, and barks so loud EM and EK are taken aback. I almost cried out of pride for this boy. He knew who his family was. Finally. He growled a little and settled back down in front of my dad's room. Not even a tail wag their way. They left and never returned. As of 2019, they've never gone to Australia. Pretty sure his liver ailments, which he passed away from a couple of years later, made them think of him as too much of a liability. This one makes me rage especially because if you can't take care of an animal, don't get one. There is unforeseen circumstances and some people can't control where they just have to get rid of the pet, but it's heartbreaking. But when it comes to people like this who didn't want the responsibility of looking after a dog but just wanted a dog, then yeah, these people were assholes. But here's a nice photo of Scotty. Okay guys, that's going to be it for today for r/entitled parents. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, comment down below about any other subreddits you'd like me to check out, hit that subscribe button, and click the little notification bell in the corner to be notified of all future uploads. See you guys in the next one. Peace!